What's up there, Wahoo fans? This is Big Law. Today we talk ACC honors and the ACC tournament starting tomorrow. But not without my guy, Casey Pazzalia, in the house. We talk about our Wahoos going to the tournament.
You are Locked On Virginia, your daily podcast on the Virginia Cavaliers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good day, viewers and listeners. I am your host, Big Law Lawrence Johnson, and welcome to your Locked On Virginia Cavaliers podcast, the first place to come to get your daily Wahoo fix as part of the Locked On Podcast Network. As you see, I got my man Casey Pazzalia in the house, my guy, my baseball correspondent, my ace, my partner in crime here. Casey, man, how are you doing, brother?
Living large and in charge, Law. How about you?
I know that's right, man. I'm doing okay myself, man. Of course, Casey, the host of the Virginia Game Day podcast, where you get an opportunity, go check him out over there. Really good podcast he does. He's there on the grounds. Gets things a lot of times first, gets some inside information as well. But make sure you check him out on the Virginia Game Day podcast. So, as today, we're going to talk about, the date is 3/6/23, so we'll make sure we get this up so you guys can check us out on YouTube. But today we're going to talk about the All ACC honors that the boys, some hardware the boys picked up. Also, we'll talk a little bit about the ACC tournament, and what to expect and what we are expecting personally from this team. And then we'll get into a little bit about what we saw. We were both at the game on Saturday, and how cool of an event it was. And then, we'll kind of get into some other things about the team. But my man Casey, kind of give me an idea. Tell me how you feel, about the team as it sits right now.
The last two home wins were crucial to just from a momentum standpoint. I like that they were able to pick those up, kind of got a new life now, got some rest because we played on Saturday, we got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We got a good time to kind of get rested up. Ben has been dealing with a back thing. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if you've seen when he goes to the bench, he always puts on this like
Mm-hmm.
heating pad
Like a
or
wrap.
wrap
Yep.
or
It's a
yeah,
wrap. Yep.
that ain't good. So
No.
it'd be nice to get these boys some rest, and when we start playing again, it depends on who we're playing, but I do think that it would be we have a chance to make a run and win the ACC tournament. It would be fitting, especially because Kihei's been here forever, but that's one thing he hasn't done is won the ACC tournament.
That is true, man. That was one thing that was really cool when they were talking about Kihei at the end of the game. Of course, if you're at the stadium, you got to be a part of some of the cool stuff that went on, and we'll talk a little bit about it in depth. But they gave Kihei a really cool game ball with all of his longevity accomplishments that he had, with the team. Most points, most minutes, most assists, just everything for the most wins all
Yeah,
time. He just went crazy, as far as what he has accomplished, and he may wind up getting his number in the rafters, and he's a national champion. You
yeah. I
know,
mean, that whole story of him just coming here is crazy. Like, I think the story goes Virginia lost to UMBC, and UMBC had this really scrappy point guard, KJ Mora, who was like 5 foot nothing, and he was just
hmm
giving Virginia fits. And I
yeah,
don't know if Coach Bennett was going and seeking that in the offseason or if
I think he
that
was because he
eh,
said something about I was a short, scrappy guy. I wanted that mentality,
yeah.
on my team.
So so he goes and inspired by the biggest loss, they go and get this two-star recruit who was going to play in the Big West or the UC Davis, and then he becomes the ACC's all-time wins leader. It's just an incredible, like almost rags to riches. I mean, because of where he was initially committed to where he stands now.
Yeah, Coach Bennett. I mean, West Coast kid as well, all the way across the country. It
Yeah.
was almost just like it was a. It was you talk about something that's meant to be. That was definitely a meant to be kind of a thing, and who would have figured he would have developed into the kind of a basketball player he was when they show his. I know it's always crazy when you see their freshman picture, or
Yeah,
their
yeah,
high
yeah.
school picture when they come in. He looks like he's 12 years old. When he comes in, but he had, quite frankly, the biggest pass in UVA history, the biggest assist in UVA history. Making that play, and it's just fitting to see him, come up and play the important minutes, the hard times and the good times, because he's had some tough times, and I had to deal with the media, and deal with criticism, but from fans, but he's shown that he's one tough dude, man, and befitting a Wahoo legend. But like I
Yeah.
say, he's the only one with all those wins and all those combinations of accomplishments, and has a title. So they may have to
Yep.
put him in the rafters, as I said earlier.
Certainly.
So let's do some superlatives, man. I had some superlatives that I did the other day, but I know you want to get in on this a little bit. So
All
what I
right.
did was I gave the MVP, I gave the defensive player of the year, offensive player of the year, and rookie of the year. So
Okay.
you go or I go and then you go. This is what I said, you know, or do you want to go first?
All right. You tell me what the category is, and then I'll tell you what my thoughts are.
All right. Regular season MVP.
Regular season MVP, most valuable
Most
player.
valuable
I'll go
player.
Kihei. I'll go Kihei Clark.
Boom.
The the
That's
heart and
it.
soul, the heart and soul of the team. So many times this year when our offense just looks stagnant and we can't get anything going, Kihei's come and saved us with a couple good plays. So many times where we've let like bummy teams hanging around with us. You think of NC Central, you think of Albany earlier in the year, and Kihei made the momentum changing plays to change those games around. So Kihei Clark, most valuable player.
Put the team on his shoulders, and pulled us through. Did that quite a few times. Defensive player of the year.
That's the easy one. Reese Beekman.
Reese Bigman, we got the same on that.
All
That was
right.
a no brainer. He's ACC defensive player of the
Yeah,
year.
we'll talk about
So
that next.
yeah, so that's only natural that he's the team defensive player of the year. Offensive player of the year.
Ooh, offensive player of the year. I'll go Armand Franklin.
Okay,
Offensive
Armand
player of the year.
Franklin. Okay.
Armand Franklin. Well, he's our leading scorer, and he really, really, if you take out IMAC, he was our best 3-point shooter. He really improved. I mean, last year it was like Russian roulette with him. He'd either go 0 for 7 or
Oh,
he'd
it
have a
was Russian
game.
roulette with more bullets in the chamber. It
Yeah.
wasn't empty. If it was a
So
six chamber, it would have four bullets in the chamber.
so last year, man, he really he shot us out of some games. He
Yeah.
just had a really rough season shooting the ball. And this year, to go and shoot 38.7% from deep, that's huge. He's he had a couple games where he threw us on his back. He had a couple games where he was doing work down in the post. He had to play the four at times this year. Armand Franklin, offensive MVP.
My offensive MVP or player of the year, I had to give it to Jaden Gardner, man.
I thought that's what you do.
I figured, see, Jaden Gardner just slow for the first few games of the year, but even in tough times, he kept trying to pull us through.
Mm-hmm.
He was our in my opinion, most consistent scorer
Oh yeah,
throughout the
he's
year.
all reliable.
Um, yeah, very reliable, and Armand was just a little bit too streaky for me, But Jaden, man, he hit his nice little mid-range shots, right around the short perimeter, foul line extended. Just offensive rebound. I mean, he would go after all the offensive rebounds. He played very well within himself and was very consistent to me, especially coming down towards the end of the year. You
Yeah, no,
know,
that's his calling card, man.
yeah, when we
Consistency.
couldn't. Mm-hmm.
When we couldn't, he could. He was like the
Yeah,
last line of defense for our offense.
that's right. That's right. Because when we
When
was
when
man,
everything when everything went off track, it was like, well, at least we got Jaden. We can just let him shoot a whole bunch of 12-foot jumpers and keep us in games.
that's right. Teams are shutting us down. He's scoring 16, 18, 19. He's still getting points to keep us competitive. I think if we would hit more free throws, it maybe would have been a different story. And so now that we got the offensive player of the year out of the way, let's do rookie of the year.
That's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough one. Um, I know where you're gonna go. I know where you're gonna go, so I'll go opposite. I'll go Isaac McNeely.
Okay. Okay. All right.
So
All right.
Isaac McNeely, I mean, numbers wise, Isaac McNeely is going to be the guy who gets a lot of the shine this year, next year. I think his numbers are going to look a little bit better than Ryan Dunn because Ryan Dunn's offensive game is a little bit behind IMAX, but um, they're both super impactful players. Isaac obviously is the team's best shooter. Shot 39% from deep. As the season wore on, he got more comfortable. You know, teams would be all up in his shorts earlier on, and then he finally started, driving a little bit to keep him honest.
Right.
Because if you just all you can do is shoot, they're gonna play you tough, play you right up, press you, and then uh, you're stuck. So he started driving the ball. He's handled the ball a lot better later in the season, and the game slows down the more time you get, the more minutes you play, and for both these first years, these minutes that they played are going to pay dividends way into the future.
Yeah, they're going to be absolutely spectacular. What I did actually, I split it. I said I had,
Okay.
you know, co-rookies of the years, and
Okay. That's
it
yeah.
was hard for me to leave out one or the other because I seen Ryan Dunn single-handedly turn about 7 games around with his
Hmm.
defense highlights, just change the momentum and the energy around. Based off of the team doing bad, and when he comes in, his energy and his defense just kind of changed everything about the team. And then they turned and they started winning the game based off of what he was doing on the defensive end. And then, highlight counting 3, 2, 1. I mean,
Hmm.
the guy, as soon as he comes in, it's a highlight coming, you know.
Yeah. The biggest game of the season he flipped, and that was Clemson when our backs were against the wall and we had lost 2 back-to-back games, and we started the game against Clemson missing 7 shots in a row. It was Ryan Dunn who came in flying for an
Like
alley-oop
Superman, man. He's
and
like
one
Superman.
that got us rolling, and then from that moment on, we went on a 17-2 run. So he does have that effect, and a lot of not a lot of players have that effect.
Nope.
Ryan Dunn has that kind of spark effect to his game where he can light a fuel. And believe it or not, I think Poppy has that same effect where he can kind of just by his toughness and energy, he can kind of spark something in the team that other guys can't. It's
Energy.
a real quality.
He changes the attitude and the
Yeah,
energy of the team. Everybody says, you know what? We're tough guys. Poppy's
yeah,
back there, and all of a sudden,
yeah,
everybody plays like they're bullies because Poppy's
yeah,
in the game. Honestly, without Poppy, they're more finesse. But when Poppy comes in the game, all of a sudden, we're like bullies, and we play really
yeah.
aggressive and tough. I don't know, but let me get this ad off here. Let me tell you what else is tough. Looking for a delicious treat but don't want the fat and calories? You gotta try a Built Bar. We just got through the holidays and I know my goal is to eat a little healthier. If you're like me, where you want to eat healthier but don't want to compromise taste, then man, I've got the thing for you. You've got to try Built. With Built, healthy is actually tasty. Seriously, they're so delicious you won't think they're good for you. Perfect for your New Year's resolution. What makes Built so good? Well, for starters, they're all covered in 100% real chocolate. That's right, real chocolate. And they come in unbelievably good flavors like churro, peanut butter brownie, and coconut almond. I'm not sure how Built does it, but the bars taste like candy bars while maintaining amazingly good macros And what's even better is that they're healthy. Only 130 calories and 4 grams of sugar and a whopping 17 grams of protein. And now you don't have to wait around to get a box. For years, we've been talking about ordering your Built Bars at Built.com. Now you can get them at your local Walmart or Sam's Club. That's right. Head to your nearest Walmart today, walk to the pharmacy section, and grab yourself a box of Built Bars. You can pick up a box of 4 in a box, cookies and cream, double chocolate, and coconut puffs. If you're close to Sam's Club, run in and grab a 13 bar box with our hit flavors, brownie batter, and churro. You can thank me later. Thanks again for making Locked On Virginia your first listen every day. Make sure you check out our brand new podcast, Locked On College Basketball. Everything you need to know about college basketball in one place. Plus, hear from big name experts, insiders, coaches, and players. Locked On College Basketball, available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. So now that we got our superlatives out of the way, brother, let's talk about all ACC honors. We gave our
Yeah.
honors out, so let's get into the real legitimate honors. So today, our guys picked up some hardware, man.
Yes, they did.
Reese Beekman, and maybe some people were surprised by this. We weren't, because we see the guy play every day, every
Mm-hmm.
home game, every away game. We're watching him. Defensive Player of the Year. I figured he was going to get it at the beginning of the year. I don't think he was a preseason Defensive Player of the Year, but first team All ACC defense, naturally, a Virginia player. Also, Kihei got first team All ACC defense, but
Mm.
Reese Beekman got Defensive Player of the Year. No surprise there. Absolutely stellar. The man is a stud. What do you feel
Yeah, I mean,
about
he
this?
probably could have got it last year too,
Mm-hmm.
but he got snubbed last year, and it's just the long line of UVA guys winning ACC Defensive Player of the Year, right? You
I
think
want to say
back to
Brogdon. Did Kite get it too?
DeAndre Hunter,
DeAndre Hunter. There you go. It was DeAndre Hunter, and I think Malcolm Brogdon got it.
Darian Atkins,
Yep. Mary Atkins. Yep. Yep.
uh, Isaiah Wilkins.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just part of that's like
The
our legacy,
DNA.
man.
Yep.
Yep. So yeah, Reese won it. So real happy to see that. I know that there was, some of the UNC fans were a little bit salty about it not being Leaky Black, but it wasn't really even close. Reese Beekman had 29 votes, and second place Leaky Black had 18, so not even close. This is voted on by the is it ACC media members or
I believe so. But you think about it like this: if they would have won more games, Leaky probably would have got it. That comes to show you, winning more games gives you
no,
more
that matters.
votes. It really does. Leaky may have gotten closer to winning it if Carolina had won as many games or won more games in Virginia. But
Okay, it's
UVA is co. Mm-hmm.
it's 15 head coaches and 60 media members. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the winning matters. Although Virginia's kind of style this season of spread it all around and everyone's kind of averaging 8 points, that did us a little bit of harm in the awards categories. And I'm fine with it. I'd rather have a banner for regular season champs than have a whole bunch of first team all ACCers. Uh, we didn't have anyone until the third team for
Yeah,
all conference.
which makes sense
Hey,
because we're not putting up a ton
yeah, we're
of
not a
points for
numbers
one
team.
person. We got 4
Yeah,
guys, almost 5 people averaging double figures. Really,
yeah,
it's kind of how the team rolls, and that's a lot harder to deal with, especially when everybody's on. So Kihei Clark, we said a little bit earlier, he got first team All ACC defense, and he was third team All ACC.
yep.
Both of our MVPs, for our superlative. So it doesn't, that there's no mistake there. There's no mystery on why we picked him. Heart and soul of the team has been for the last few years. He's the most decorated Wahoo when it comes to longevity awards. Being around and wins and everything else. I think we're really going to miss him. And I know the point guard coming in, he's supposed to be, you know, really good as well. And I'll be interested to see how he works. The new point guard that's from Georgetown.
Dante, Dante Harris. Yeah, he's really good. He's a real good player.
Yeah, that's right. He's the kind of a player who can get his own shot, from what I've
Yes, he
seen him
can.
play. But this is Kihei's segment. But congratulations to Kihei. Kudos to him, and we're gonna miss you when you're out of here, man. And then, of course, honorable mention was Jaden Gardner.
Jaden Gardner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my offensive uh, player of the year for the team. Just
It's
consistent.
crazy. It's crazy that our UVA's leading scorer didn't get anything.
Anything. Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't get an honorable mention, nothing. So that's when you told me you wanted to talk about the ACC honors, I was like, I know I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna put up my man Armand and say
Mm-hmm.
he got snubbed because you're talking about the leading scorer on the conference champion
Mm-hmm.
doesn't get honored at all. It's a
Yeah.
bummer for Armand, but
Hey,
and
Armand.
Isaac
Hey.
Isaac what
Uh-huh. No, go ahead. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
and Isaac got snubbed too because I feel like Isaac or Ryan Dunn should have been on the all freshman team, but it was a whole bunch of Duke guys.
That's crazy that neither of them guys got on there.
Yep, a whole bunch of Duke
Th-
guys.
This is what I can tell you. This Armand Franklin, this is an opportunity for him to think about coming back. We know he did senior day, which was absolutely
And Kihei
amazing.
did it.
Exactly. Kie did it. So he has a year left. I mean, and hopefully Reese comes back. So you're looking at Reese, possible. Reese, Armand, uh, Isaac.
do,
you
do we have time? How much time we got?
got a little bit of time.
Okay, so Reese, I saw Reese in a NBA mock draft,
Mm-hmm.
and he wasn't slated to get picked until late second round.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever
He's
posted
falling.
it had said that this might be leaning towards him coming back. It would be in his best
Mm-hmm.
interest to come back because second round picks, it's not a lot of
D
guaranteed
League.
money. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
G
you
League. G
get
League.
you get up into the money round, then
Mm-hmm.
you're safe. So love to have Reese back.
Yeah, yeah. Well, at the beginning of the year they had him looking like he was a first round pick. Mid to late first round pick, but him having those hard games in the middle of the season, those tough games, he didn't play all that great. I think it kind of dropped his stock, pretty pretty harshly. So, for him to come back with, hope we can get Armand to come back, Isaac McNeely, Ryan Dunn, but Isaac Trout, he's a stud. Leon Bond, and hopefully Caden wants to come back. I mean, you're talking about another team that could make another run, and the new point guard that we just talked about from Georgetown.
I would be very surprised if Caden comes back.
Mm, man.
Let me give you a little bit of what I saw on
Mm-hmm.
senior night. So senior night, the game ends, cut down the net. If you go on the message boards, you can they did a little video of the net cutting down and they didn't show Caden cutting down the net and people are making a big deal about that. But that's something, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. But I go to the gift shop or the team store
Hmm.
and the Caden Shedrick shirts are discounted down to $10. And I don't know I don't know if it's because like
Oh
those
man.
things are like $30 normally. And I'm like, I mean everything was discounted, but to $10, I was like, he ain't
Somebody
coming back.
knows something, huh? Well, hopefully he does because I think that he could have
I
a great year next year.
I mean, we're talking about the guy who they sent to ACC Media Day, I think
Mm-hmm.
last year. You send like your stars to ACC Media Day.
Mm-hmm.
He started 14 games this year. He won a couple games for us, in my opinion. I mean, the NC State
Yeah.
game, he did work on DJ Burns.
He changed
So
the game.
I mean, I would love to have Caden back. I just know that it's got to be tough to swallow to go from starter to DNP in only a few games and then be sitting at the end of the season. So maybe they can have a conversation and they can figure out a plan and find out what coach wants from him. But
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
as
he'll
a
give him that
player,
evaluation. Uh-huh.
you're an athlete, like I'm sure he has NBA dreams. How do you roll the dice and come back and not be sure if you're playing or not?
Well,
Like he doesn't have a lot of time left.
well, he knows that, this is the thing. If he would not get so many like bad fouls and he can
Hmm.
stay on the floor long term, that'll change everything for him. He plays above the rim. He can catch. He's catching alley oops all the time. When they find him, he showed a little bit of a little jump shot. Right at the foul line. If he
Hmm.
can just hone those two skills where he's not fouling as much, not playing so much out of control. That's what he does. He plays a little bit too out of control, and he gets unnecessary fouls. And then if he can just hit that little jumper, because he elevates and shoots, you know, he was averaging double figures almost.
He was, and
Before they took him out.
yeah, I remember there was a UConn scrimmage before the season, and whoever I was talking to that was telling me about it said Caden Shedrick was the best player on the floor
Yeah.
against UConn. UConn's like
Mm-hmm.
top 10 team. We're basically a top 10 team. So
Right.
that's a lot. That's
Well,
a
he also, when he's on his P's and Q's, is a great backbone, for our defense. You figure you put him, Ryan Dunn, down low like they played a lot.
mhm.
This team could be, from a defensive standpoint, be back up there next year because they'll have the offense if all those four guys play. Between Reese, Armand, Isaac, and point guard from Georgetown.
Dante Harris.
Dante Harris. There we go. Harris. Those four guys, they're going to score points, man. They're going to score points. And, having him back, and then, of course, Isaac Trout, who's going to play center, if Caden's not going to be there? Isaac's kind of a 4/5, but he's
Yeah.
more of a stretch four to me than a 5.
Yeah, but coach went with BVP so often this year. Isaac kind of seems like a similar player to
Yeah.
BVP, right?
Yeah. I think we had some questions about that,
Sure, sure, sure. No, absolutely.
playing
I would love to
BVP
see
as
Caden
much.
back.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll
And get
definitely
this,
keep it check. Uh-huh.
eh, Poppy sat a lot this year, and
Mm-hmm.
then he stayed ready, and it was great for him to go out with a bang, getting some time. So
Yeah, he
maybe it's
came
just
in.
part of, yeah. So maybe it's just part of the pillars, man. I hope it is just part of the wait your turn, and Caden will come. Maybe it'll spark something in him, and get with coach, get in the gym, and come have a breakout year. He has 2 years left with the COVID
Is it
year.
2 years? Oh
So
wow, wow,
right,
man.
because he's only played.
He could. Yeah, you're right, bro. He could really be an animal for the next 2 years. You
Yeah, because
know,
he
'cause this.
redshirted.
Uh huh.
He redshirted, and then he played 11 games, and then 35 games and 26 games. So he's only played in 3 seasons. So if you get to play in five now,
Mm.
got 2 years left.
Well, hopefully he wants to comes back. I know
Yeah,
he should feel like he has something to prove, and he does. And I think he really could next year. And I think Tony has no choice but to give him the most of those center minutes, especially if Caden
sure.
can clean up some of those things we talked about.
Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, brother. So let's get into the ACC tournament real quick before we get out of here. So right now, UVA second seed got the
Yep.
double bye. That's what we needed. They won't play until Thursday. The tournament kicks off tomorrow. Who do we
Hmm.
got for play-in? Do you have that up
So
for
yeah, we got
tomorrow?
Florida State, and Georgia Tech at 2 o'clock. Boston
Mm,
College and Louisville at 4:30,
mm,
and Virginia Tech and Notre Dame at 7 o'clock.
I love it. Here we go, bro. Here we go, man.
Yeah. So
Here we go.
I'm hoping Boston College can beat Louisville
Mm-hmm.
And then I hope Boston College can knock off North Carolina
Mm-hmm.
so we don't have to play North Carolina
Right.
because
Right.
North Carolina's pretty much owned us these last few years.
In
And
BC, man, I mean, Lord have mercy.
BC
You
is
know,
dangerous. They
bit
whooped on
dangerous as
us.
hell. Yep.
Yeah. So they can beat Louisville, and I'm sure they can beat UNC. So that's something. And I think that who do you have in the championship? Because I got Duke
I
and
got
Virginia.
that's what I
I
have in the
think Duke is
championship.
gonna.
Duke and Virginia.
Yeah, that would be a nice rematch to finally settle the score of that stupid ending in Charlottesville.
Oh, that would be good. In Greensboro,
Nice.
nonetheless.
Yeah,
You know,
for
but we
sure.
have. Do you plan on doing any traveling for any of the for March Madness? You and I need to catch up if
It
we are.
depends how far we go.
Okay. All right.
If they make it to the
Uh,
Sweet 16, I can see myself getting there.
okay. All right. All right. All right. Yeah, and we'll have to get with some of that and figure out what we want to do. But yeah, man.
Totally.
Um, baseball team's on fire, but we'll do another show on that probably another day or two. Of what's going
hmm
on with them. Um, anything else you wanted to say before we get out of here?
I was at UVA on Sunday, and it was a triple header. Right, there was the baseball team playing, the softball team playing, and the women's lacrosse team playing. And I think every team that played this weekend won. So it was a great weekend in UVA land, and yeah,
All
nothing to
W's.
complain about right now. Get out to the
That's
parks.
it.
The weather's getting nice. Let's hope we can win
Yes.
this ACC tournament and
That's it.
hang another banner.
That's it, brother. Looking forward to it. Well, everyone, we got to thank you for coming in and hanging out with us. My guy, Casey Pazzalia. Make sure you check him out. How can they catch up with you, Casey? How can they find you?
Virginia Game Day podcast on all the major platforms at Virginia Game Day on Instagram.
All right. And you can catch me on Seven City Shop Talk Sports. You can catch me online, catch me on Facebook, and also always catch me here at Locked On Virginia. We want to thank you for making Locked On Virginia your first listen every day. Make sure you check out our brand new podcast, Locked On College Basketball. Everything you need to know about college basketball in one place. Plus, hear from big names, experts, insiders, coaches, and players. Locked On College Basketball, available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you, guys. We love you. Wahoo Wah, and go Hoos.
Goes.